Okay, good afternoon, and we'll start with the sixth module. Okay, the sixth module basically, are you able to see the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here, sixth module basically consists of compensation. Okay, so it is more of compensation and the forms of compensation, right? And this particular module again looks into the approaches of international compensation, how compensation is fixed, what are the key components of international compensation, right? The practices of compensation across various countries, then issues, emerging issues in compensation management, establishment of labor standards by international institutions, then global legal and regulatory context of MNEs, then human resource information system, role of IT in the HR, designing human resource information system when it comes to international HRM, then application of HRIS in employee management and limitations of HRIS. Okay. So basically, if we speak about this compensation, so rewards rewards can be intrinsic or extrinsic. So intrinsic rewards is nothing but feeling of pride of joy, job well done, and an achievement. Extrinsic reward includes the praises from superiors, salary, employee benefits, career progression, etc. The compensation also is an extrinsic reward for an employee. Okay, so compensation becomes an extrinsic reward for the employee. Okay, I think the students want to join. Right. So here the compensation becomes an extrinsic reward for the employee. So international compensation is basically the key issue when it comes to international human resource management. So many of the expatriations fail because of the second reason, that is compensation. Okay, then compensation is nothing but the amount of remuneration paid to an employee by the employer in return to the employee's services to the company. Okay, in general, we just say that compensation is nothing but the amount of remuneration which is being paid by the employee to an employee by the employer in return of the employee's services to the company. So almost all employees, except jobs in multinational companies, take up assignments in various countries and take up the risk, bear inconveniences and discomforts in foreign assignments, mostly based on compensation package. So here, leaving the family and going abroad, okay, for the work, right, for the task assigned by the company, taking the risk, okay, facing the risk of terrorism, okay, facing the risk of, you know, adjusting to the culture of that particular country, facing the risk of so many things, like kidnapping, so murders, everything happens. In spite of all the risk, the employee makes himself ready, okay, for going for a foreign assignment. Now, why this happens? Because of the compensation package which has been given to him. Okay, so every individual works for the M factor, that is money, right? So that is what the major motivation for an employee to go abroad and work basically is the compensation package. However, some of the employees, okay, may accept the foreign assignments based on the expected compensation package for the future jobs. So basically, they may expect a compensation package for future jobs. So that time, they may become ready to go for foreign assignments. So thus, compensation package basically plays a pivotal role in international human resource management, as employees leave their comfortable current jobs, home, relatives, friends, and society at the home country to earn more finance and for a better future prospects. Okay. Some employees even sacrifice their family life in order to make good money in the shortest span of time. Fine. That is also one of the reason why the expatriates go there. As such, international human resource managers prioritize the compensation management functions over the other functions, though it is more critical over the HR functions. Okay. So this particular function is being prioritized more by international human resource management rather than other functions like performance management, etc., and all those things. Okay, so this function is very critical and is being taken care of. Right. So here, when I speak about compensation, as I said, it is an extrinsic reward for the employees. Okay, and international compensation becomes a key issue when it comes to international human resource management. Okay? So, what are the different complexities involved when it comes to international compensation management? First complexity which is involved is salary and benefits, which vary. Okay, the level of salary and benefits which vary from one country to the other country. So that is one of the complexity when it comes to international human resource management. Okay, so here before moving on with this complexities, I'd just like to give a brief about international law. Okay, so here international law, also being called as employment standard, is the body of rules spanning public, okay, and private international laws which concern the rights and duties of employees, employers, trade unions, and governments, and regulates the workplace. So, International Employment Organization and the World Trade Organization have been the main international bodies involved in reform employment markets. International Monetary Fund (IMF), the World Bank, okay, have indirectly driven changes in employment policies by demanding structural adjustment conditions for receiving loans or grants. So conflicts of law issue arise determined by national courts when people work in more than one country, and supranational bodies, particularly in the law of European unions, has a growing body of rules regarding employment rights. So there are various regulating bodies who will be regulating here. Okay, so protection of wage conventions, right, in 1949, labor class, that is public contract conventions. Okay, apart from the minimum wage fixing convention, protection of workers' claim, that is employees insolvency convention 1992. All these are various law bodies which do regulate this international compensation. Okay, so here designing and developing a better compensation package, okay, for HR professionals becomes a crucial task. Okay, so moving on to this particular part, salary and benefits vary at different levels from one country to another country. Okay, I think some students want to. Okay. So here, if you could see, my dear students, first complexity when it comes to international compensation management, that is salary and benefits vary from one country to another country. So here, as I have already given the example, in America, if you see the salary, it is different, and in Africa, if you see the salary, it's different because of the differences in the currency rates. Okay, differences in the developing market and all those things. Okay, so all this brings in a lot of differences when from country to country. The cost of living basically varies widely among countries. Okay, for example, cost of living in Tokyo, Japan, is 3 times higher than that in New Delhi, India. Okay, so here cost of living in Tokyo, that is Japan, is 3 times higher than that of New Delhi, that is India. Okay, so here cost of living varies from one country to another country. That is one of the complexity while fixing the international compensation. Apart from that, varying requirements of employees. Okay, varying requirements of employees like mm, providing housing and medical and health facilities for employee family members, and schooling facilities for employee children in different countries. Okay, so here there are varying requirements. Okay, certain locations or certain countries you have to provide housing facility. Okay, apart from that, medical facility. Some countries you have to provide health facilities for the employee family members also. Then school facilities for employee children in different countries. One example here, most of the companies in New Guinea, Papua New Guinea, provide free housing and free medical and housing facilities. Okay, so here they provide free housing and free medical and housing facilities for employees' family, and school fees for employees' children as part of the compensation package for expatriates. While the multinational companies in USA do not provide these facilities as a part of compensation package. They provide it as the additional allowances depending on the performance of that particular employee. Okay, so this is basically the difference between various countries. So here again the requirement varies. Okay, in USA they do not provide any such facilities like housing, medical, health facilities for the employees, families, schooling facilities and all those things. Okay, because it's very costly there and they cannot include this in compensation. But yes, if the employee is really performing well, then they may provide any one facility as the allowance. That's it. Okay, then varying salary levels. Okay, that is also one of the complexity. Varying salary levels of expatriates. Okay, so here when it comes to varying salary level of expatriates, fine, these salary levels are viewed as opportunity cost by the expatriates while accepting compensation package for their foreign assignment. Okay, so when it comes to varying salary level of expatriates in the respective home countries, the salary levels are viewed as opportunity cost. So these people who are being sent as expatriates, they view it as opportunity cost while they accept the compensation package for the foreign assignment. For example, an MNC in Singapore attracts employees from India and Philippines at low salary level, whereas it attracts employees from USA and Japan at very high salary level. Okay, so this is owing to the reason that salary level in India and Philippines are normally low when converted into Singapore dollars, and the salary level in USA and Japan would be very high when converted into Singapore dollars. Okay, so that is the basic difference here. So while framing the compensation, this has to be taken into consideration. Okay, then apart from that, foreign exchange rate fluctuate widely. Obviously there is lot of fluctuation in foreign exchange rate, which brings in lot of effect on the compensation package of the employees. Apart from that, varying tax rates. For example, effective personal income tax rate is as low as zero in most of the Arab countries. Okay, so when it comes to Arab countries, personal income tax rate is very almost zero, and it is probably this pandemic has converted that particular situation. Now you have too many tax slabs in Arab countries also. Okay, for the employees, and it is as high as 54% in Sweden. Okay, so here personal income tax is very high as 54% in Sweden, but it may be zero in Arab countries. Okay, so this is what we say. The tax rates also vary from one country to another country. So it becomes again very critical while fixing the compensation. Fine. Apart from that, varying rates of inflation and deflation. Okay, many countries, a lot of certain times they may face inflation, certain times they may face deflation. Okay, among developed and developing countries. Okay, developing countries obviously they'll be facing inflation and deflation, whereas developed countries they may face inflation. Okay, so varying local conditions, that is also one of the reason for complexities in international compensation management. So here, varying local conditions in host country, okay, in terms of cost of living, maybe availability of housing and medical facilities, schooling facilities, and security situations that require the multinationals to design different pay package for different countries. Okay, so these are all the various complexities which are involved when it comes to international compensation management. Okay, so here, if you could see here, uh, taking all these complexities into a consideration, it becomes very difficult for the HR manager or international HR manager to fix the compensation for the employees, okay, into the organization who are being sent as expatriates. Fine. Then you have the next one, that is objectives of international compensation management. Right. So first objective of international compensation management is recruiting and retaining suitable employees. So multinational companies basically design and practice compensation and benefits in order to attract and retain most suitable employees in terms of job efficiency and cultural adaptability. So here recruitment and retention of suitable employees is one of the first objective when it comes to international compensation management. So compensation is fixed in such a way or planned in such a way that it attracts the right manpower, or it attracts the talented manpower, and it also puts in a certain compensation, the compensation which is being fixed, it also sees to it that it retains the suitable employees within the organization. Okay. The second one is consistency and equity. Okay. So here multinational companies design the salary and benefit package to secure consistency between pay and performance. Okay. So MNCs basically they design the salary and benefit packages to secure consistency. That means there should be a consistent um, flow between pay and performance. Okay, and equity among employees. So these three should be balanced: pay, performance, and equity among employees of different nationalities. Okay, and categories and employees of subsidiaries and parent company. So they see to it that there is an equity or a balance between the pay and salaries between the nationals, employees of subsidiaries, parent companies. That means the host country, home country, and parent country nationals, right? And then facilitate mobility. That is also one of the objective. So multinational companies design pay package in order to enable the employees to move from company to foreign subsidiary, and from one foreign subsidiary to another foreign subsidiary. So there is a lot of facility for internal mobility which is being given. So here multinational companies design the pay package in order to enable. So this particular um, pay package is being made in order to enable employees free movement from one country, parent country to subsidiary, foreign subsidiary, and from foreign subsidiary to another foreign subsidiary. Right, so they try to fix the compensation in such a way that really the employees can move from one country to another country. Then adaptability to foreign culture and environment. Okay, so here multinational companies design a pay package. Okay, it motivates employees and the family members of also to willingly adapt to the culture and environment of the foreign countries. Okay, for example, here providing comfortable housing, highly reliable medical facility, and security facilities against odds, as well as international standard schooling facility, encourages the family members also of the employee as well as the employee to stay and to perform well in the foreign subsidiary. Okay, or the and easily adapt and adjust to the foreign country cultures and environment, and it also allows to concentrate on the job. So that is one of the objective of international compensation, right? And cost of staff versus ability to pay. Okay, so here, my dear students, MNCs, multinational companies pay package should ultimately be based on the company's ability to pay. Okay, so this particular MNC, multinational companies pay package, is ultimately based on the company's ability to pay. Okay, ability to pay determines the package, which in turn determines the level of quality of employees as well as total cost of staff. Okay, so ability of the company to pay a better compensation, it speaks about, or it tells us what type of employees will be there in the organization, the quality of the employees, as well as the total cost of the staff. Okay, then you have simplified collective bargaining procedure. Okay, so though some of the multinational companies are free from trade unions, okay, still collective bargaining plays dominant role in formulating human resource management policies and procedures, especially into compensation. So here, sound compensation package reduces employee grievances. It brings better employer-employee relationship. Okay, and thereby the items on the agenda of collective bargaining. Okay, it reduces the stress and compensation into collective bargaining. So nearly 40% of the collective bargaining items are related to compensation issues in most of the multinational companies. Therefore, multinational companies design the pay package which reduces the which reduces the conflict between the employer and employee, and which would reduce the need for arising collective bargaining. Okay, so they try to avoid this collective bargaining and try to simplify this collective bargaining procedure. Okay, so for that they give better compensation to the employees. So that's what is the objective of international compensation management. Then organizational performance, obviously when you pay better, you have motivated employees, which enhances the job performance of the employees. which makes the employees learn the latest skills and contribute to the enhancement of the organizational performance also. So, in fact, basically, performance-based pay package and enhances organizational performance. Okay. Apart from that, the competitive and comparable compensation packages. So, multinational companies design their compensation package based on that of their close competitors for people in the globe, as well as in each country they operate in order to attract and retain competent employees. Okay. So, basically, when it comes to the compensation fixation here. So multinational companies, they design their compensation package in such a way that they also just give a tough competition to the close competitors for the people in the globe, as well as in each country they operate in order to attract and retain competent people. So in addition, they also set the pay package to be competitive among various jobs within the organization also. Okay, so here this is being done to attract the best talent for critical jobs which are high in demand, right? So here it is needless to mention that multinational companies pay package would invariably be competitive to that of domestic pay package of an expatriate in order to pull him or her from the domestic job and the organization, right? So achieving these objectives of international compensation is critical as a number of factors variables affect designing and implementing international compensation package. Okay, now moving on to the factors. Basically, before the factors, we'll just look into the international compensation and international assignees. Okay, so here when it comes to international compensation and international assignees, right? So it is very much required to understand that designing and developing a better compensation package for HR professionals for the international assignment, okay, requires knowledge of taxation. So here, if the HRs want to design and develop better compensation package, okay, they have to have the knowledge of taxation, they have to have the knowledge of employment laws as well as foreign currency fluctuation. Okay, this is to be known by the HR professionals. Moreover, the socio-economic conditions of the country have to be taken into consideration while developing a compensation package. It is easy to develop the compensation package for the parent country nationals because they're already in that particular country, and the HRs also know the situation in that particular country. The currency rates, the laws, and everything is being known by the parent company in that particular country. But difficult to manage host and third country nationals. Okay, how do you manage the host and third country nationals? That is very much difficult. So when a firm develops international compensation policies, it tries to fulfill some of the broad objectives. Okay, so whenever the firm is filling the international compensation policies, it tries to fulfill some broad objectives. First objective is compensation policy should be in line with the structure, business needs, and overall strategy of the organization. So compensation policy which is being framed should be very much in line with the structure of the organization, should be in line with the business needs of the organization and the overall strategy of the organization. The policy should aim at attracting and retaining the best talent. That is, obviously, the compensation is fixed for the same reason, right? Then it should enhance employee satisfaction, right? Employees also should be satisfied with it. It should be clear in terms of understanding of the employees and also convenient to the administrator. Okay, so these are the few points which are to be taken into consideration while fulfilling some broad objectives. Okay, and then the employee also has a number of objectives that he wishes to achieve from the compensation policy, right? That is proper compensation against his or her competency and performance level, or substantial financial gain for his or her own comfort and for his family's comfort also, as well as present and future needs to be taken care of, including children's education, medical protection, housing facility, and the policy should be progressive in nature. These are the various things which the employee expects when the company is going to fix the compensation policy. Okay. Apart from that, basically moving on to compensation, it is entirely based on market research of worth of similar jobs in the marketplace. Whenever the compensation is fixed for a particular job, it entirely depends on the market research. Okay, so they look into the worth of similar jobs in the market. Okay, and then they go in for fixing the compensation. Apart from that, the contribution of the employee as well as accomplishment of the employee also plays a key role in fixing the compensation. Then availability of employees with like skills in the marketplace. Okay, that also plays an important role when fixing the compensation. When the availability of employee with similar skills is very less, that time you have to fix the high compensation. Okay, because that time you have the demand for the job and supply of labor is very low for that particular work. Okay, vice versa. If the availability of employee with like skills in the marketplace is very high, you can have a compromising compensation. Okay, being fixed. Apart from that, desire of employer to attract and retain particular employee for value they are perceived to add the employment relationship. So certain times the competitors from the competitors you want to attract, okay, the key people who are in the competitors to excel in this particular business. So that time you try to pay a better compensation, okay, to improve the employment relationship. Fine. Apart from that, my dear students, profitability of the company, thus ability of the employer to pay the amount according to the market trends, that is also very much important. Okay, so here, these are the various factors or these are the various things which do consider when we are fixing the international compensation. Okay, and moving on to forms of compensation, right? So forms of compensation, there are two forms of compensation being provided for the employees. One is direct form, and the other one is indirect form. Direct form of compensation have a multitude of types or methods, from salary to bonuses. Indirect compensation basically is primarily various types of benefits and long term incentives. Okay, so one of the form of compensation is direct remuneration for services rendered by the employees. The term used for this is wage. Okay, it consists of four different groups of payment from employer to employee. So they are salary, okay, then hourly commissions and bonus types of wages. Okay, so these do come into the compensation. Let us see one by one the forms of compensation. Okay, so compensation, when it comes to forms of compensation, one is salary, my dear students. Salary is nothing but type of wage is customarily set on sum of remuneration over a defined period of time. So if there's a defined period of time and you're setting the remuneration for that particular time, it is a most traditional form. Okay, so a traditional form. Okay, so here basically depending on the currency of that particular currency rate of that particular country, you try to fix the salary. Frequency of payment is another part of compensation, and it is based on the industry standards. Most of the businesses pay for services twice a month. Okay. Most commonly used tool for to pay professionals or licensed employees. Right. So in general, there is a expectation from the employer for a long-term commitment from the employee for providing a regular uninterrupted compensation. So that is the key for it here. Okay. Apart from that, hourly, this is a dollar amount per hour of services to the employer. Okay. So here more commonly used to compensate unskilled and skilled laborers in the workforce. So this form of compensation comes with an implied understanding that during time of slow and minimal workloads, the employee may not be used to provide services. In effect, there is no guarantee of a regular cycle of pay. That is what we say hourly pay. Then you have commission. So when commission is based on volume or some form of performance, this is known as commission based remuneration. So other terms used include piecework or piecemeal, whatever it is. Okay. So many industries use this type of remuneration to get a minimum standard of production in exchange for compensation. So it is used to shift risk from employer to employee. So there are two methods to calculate commission. One is based on volume of services, and other is based on volume of sales. Fine. Then you have bonuses. Bonuses is nothing but as we know, it is increased for performance from the employee. Okay, bonus is used to give as a benefit for the increased performance from the employee. So this is variable type of remuneration and is more commonly found with salaried staff to incentivize them for a particular goal, whether time or volume based. Okay, so other reason used for bonus are to increase and maintain retention of certain skills or a pool of skill sets needed in the company. So sometimes bonus are paid when company meet certain financial standards or goals over the extended period of time. So bonus are not commonly used with hourly or commission based employees due to nature and type of the compensation already established for them. So however, in small business it is used to as a tool to incentivize these two type of remuneration to meet certain goals. Okay, so here it is basically given to salaried employees but not the employees who are based on hourly or commission basis and all those things, right? Then you have benefits. Obviously, these are form of insurance, in the form of insurance, okay, or in the form of health, dental, life, disability, vision, and retirement. All these are various benefits which are given. So very few small businesses provide benefit to their employees due to cost involved. Okay, so when small businesses begin providing benefits, they customarily start out with retirement. Okay, because of simplicity and low cost. As they grow, they add health insurance and continue to expand and benefit packages as the number of employees increase and the risk of business performance decreases. Okay, so benefits allow for retention and recruitment. Other benefits may include paid time off, vacation time, customized incentives, like lodging, meals, phone allowances, and all those things. Okay, then you have equity based programs. Okay, so equity-based programs basically are rarely found in small business world for several reasons. So these type of indirect compensation tie the employee to company via ownership. So due to complexity and legal issues involved, very few small businesses use this tool. This is a sophisticated method to retain key employees. Okay. Now moving on to the factors that influence compensation policy. Okay. So first factor which influences the compensation policy is objectives, that is internal. Okay, you have two type of factors, one is internal, one is external, right? So when it comes to internal factors which influence the compensation policy, one is objectives and goals of MNC. Okay, so here when it comes to objectives and goals of MNCs, right? So goals of MNCs include profit earning, okay, an expansion of market, increasing market share, and such. Okay. So similarly, global non-profit organizations also formulate their goals. For example, goal of World Vision Australia, okay, is citing poverty by empowering people to transform their worlds. Okay, so here one example is being put forth. The goal of World Vision Australia, which is an NGO, is citing poverty by empowering people to transform their worlds. Okay, so they have the goal of citing poverty by empowering people to transform the world of those people. So goal of MNCs dealing in oil is to enter 21st century as $1 billion a year international oil and gas company. So MNCs formulate the objectives of compensation and benefits based on the corporate goals. So multinational companies with competitive strategic goals formulate the compensation objectives of attracting and retaining most competent people. In fact, they strive to pay competitive salaries and benefits in the industry globally. For example, Coca-Cola always pays competitive salary and benefits in the countries of operation. Okay, so capacity to pay, that is the second internal factor which influences the compensation policy. So multinational companies capacity to pay is based on its long term profitability. Okay, so here if the company is having long run profitability, then it goes for paying better compensation to the employees. So multinational companies can't pay more than their ability to pay in the long run, as it is ultimate factor that determines the pay package. However, multinational companies in the short run may pay more than their ability in order to retain short run survivals. Okay. Then you have competitive strategy. Fine. So multinational companies adapting aggressive and offensive business strategies would like to be competitive and craft competitive compensation packages. For example, Coca-Cola adapts competitive strategies over Pepsi-Cola and Xerox over Canon. Okay. So such companies also adapt competitive strategies in designing a package over that of their competitors. So in order to attract more competent people than that of their competitors. So in fact, competent employees can contribute to the achievement of the competitive strategies. Fine. Then you have organizational culture, that is one of the factor which influences the compensation policy. So culture of the organization plays a very important role and is embodied by the quality of work life. Okay. So quality of work life is in turn, okay, is influenced by benefits and facilities provided by the multinational companies. Therefore, multinational companies, in order to provide high quality of work life, provide various benefits like car allowance, health insurances, and stock plans. Okay, for example, here, Deloitte provides health facilities and stock options as a part of compensation package to its employees. Then you have human resource structures. Okay, so human resource structure includes age, gender, education, qualification, skill level, and attitude of employees, influencing the compensation package. So, multinational companies with more middle aged employees having school going children pay school allowances. Multinational companies with more women employees involve cost in providing security to women employees and childcare centers. And multinational companies with vibrant attitude people hike salaries every year. So thus structure of HR affects the compensation structure and also the package of the compensation. Okay. Another factor which affects the compensation policy is employee employer relationship. Okay. So employee employer relationship basically are determined by their attitude towards each other and the existence of trade unions. So, existence of trade unions influence human resource policies and practices, particularly compensation management. So, basically, in fact, some trade unions organize strikes in order to influence multinational companies for paying higher salaries sometimes, even more than their capacity to pay. So, such situation also influences the compensation package widely and significantly, especially if the unions are strong in that particular country. Then role of the subsidiaries. Okay. Subsidiaries play a vital role in designing the compensation package in view of their specific requirements in terms of job skills or maybe organizational requirements, cultures of the organization, stakeholders' demand, and the systems. So subsidiaries, okay, in terms of equity or pay differentials between expatriates and national employees, provisions for special benefits for expatriates, and like influence the compensation package significantly. Okay, so here in order to attract the better competent people in form of expatriates, they pay a better compensation. Level of technology also determines the level of skill and knowledge required, then demand for and supply of specific skills and expertise and the level of difficulties of adjusting to the new technology influence the structure and level of compensation as well as benefits. Okay. Now, moving on to next, the external factors which influence the compensation policy. So, first external factor which influences the compensation policy is the parent country. Okay, so countries of MNC's headquarters, multinational company headquarters, the culture of the headquarters, the cost of living of the headquarters, the values and attitudes towards compensation influence the initial compensation structure. Okay, so when you speak about fixing initial compensation structure, the culture, cost of living, values, and attitude of the headquarters, that is parent company, influences the compensation structure. Compensation package levels and patterns and types of benefits in the parent country influences the designing of pay package in the other country. For example, Dr. Reddy's Lab, an Indian multinational company, designs its compensation package for other countries based on Indian values and cultures to a great extent. However, it takes the local condition also into account in finally designing the package. Okay, so first priority is being given for the culture, the compensation package which is being followed in India, and based on that, they try to fix the compensation for the people who are working in other countries. Okay, in the same company. Similarly, Coca-Cola, a USA multinational company, structures the salary of its subsidiaries based on the USA salary structure. Okay, so that is one of the factor which influences external factor which influences the pay package. Apart from that, labor market characteristics. So, labor market characteristics that influence compensation include demand for and supply of different categories of employees and their skills and knowledge. Excess of supply over demand of the particular category of employee results in fixing up a lower salary level. over the other categories of the employees whose demand is in excess and supply is in excess of supply. Okay, so in fact, basically, host country nationals employed for these jobs for which their supply is in excess of demand for the same would normally get lower salary levels compared to that of expatriates for other countries whose demand is excess for of the supply. So here expatriates are being deployed, okay, because the demand of the job is high and the supply of manpower is low for that particular job. Okay, so that time the salary will be high. For example, host country national salaries are low in Malaysia. So in Malaysia, the host country national salary are very low for civil engineers basically and mechanical engineers and school teachers, as their supply is in excess of demand. So supply of civil engineers, mechanical engineers and school teachers is very high in that particular country. So that time they try to fix the lower salary to these category of people, but expatriate software engineers get more salary than the civil engineers in Malaysia, as the former supply is less than the demand. So when it comes to software engineers, in Malaysia, there is a lack of software engineers in Malaysia. So they try to uh, arrange people from various other countries, or they try to take people from the parent country. Okay, so that time they pay a better salary or higher salary to them compared to civil engineers. Okay, so in contrast, expatriates from India, okay, Bangladesh, Pakistan and Philippines placed in lower level jobs would accept salaries lower than that of the nationals in Saudi Arabia, United Emirates and Oman. Okay, so if you go to Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates and Oman, the Indians, Bangladeshis, Pakistan, and Philippines who are working there are getting a low salary comparative to the nationals of Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Oman. Okay, so supply of employees for managerial jobs, engineering jobs, medical doctors, and software engineers is less than that of the demand for the same in most of the countries. Therefore, expatriates are employed on higher level salaries than that of the nationals for such categories. Okay, so here this is how the labor market characteristics do influence the compensation level. Okay, then you have the local conditions here. So local conditions of the country where multinational companies or subsidiaries. Okay, so are you able to hear my students? Divya Patil, are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, so is it understandable or am I too fast? Rohini Patil, am I too fast?
No, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Okay. Then moving on to local conditions, my dear students. So local conditions of the country where multinational company or subsidiaries is located include security conditions. Okay. So local conditions, whatever are there, is security of the expatriate who is being sent, availability of housing, medical, education, telecommunication, hospital facilities, transportation and recreational facilities, and the cost of all these facilities. Okay. These conditions basically determine cost of living in that particular country along with general price trends. So level of cost of living influences the compensation package. So this is the local condition which influences the compensation package. Okay, then host and home country government rules. Okay, that is also one of the external factor which influences the compensation policy. So government through their labor policies, enactment of compensation laws and guidelines issued to various companies influence the compensation level as well as the benefit packages. Okay, so maternity benefit act of the host country determines providing maternity leave with salary and medical facilities. Some multinational companies provide compensation and benefits based on the provisions and benefits that are in force in the parent country for the parent country nationals. Okay, so whatever benefits are being given for in parent country for parent country nationals, the same benefits are being given for the parent country nationals who are working in host country. Okay, some multinational companies follow the provisions of those either host country government guidelines and the laws or home country government guidelines and the laws. Some companies they look into the guidelines of the host country, or they may look into the guidelines of the home country, that is parent country, and fix the compensation for the employees. Okay, so while you know MNCs follow that that is beneficial. MNCs do follow the trend which is beneficial for the organization, where the cost is very low. If the host government, if the policies, the compensation is such that you can retain the employees as well as less cost is spent, that time you have follow the host country nationals government laws and regulations related to compensation. But if parent country, if it is relatively low, then you follow the parent country. Apart from that, industry type, okay, it is also one of the factor which influences the compensation policy. Okay, so here compensation package and structure mostly depends on the type of industry. Okay, for example, the salary level of employees working in software industry, pharmaceutical industries, health service industries, biotechnological industry, and mobile communication industry are higher than that of the other industries like steel industry, automobile industry, chemical industry, and cement industries. Okay, this was a survey which was being done in 1990s and 2008. Okay, so basically, the industry types also do influence the compensation policy. In addition, the study conducted by O'Donnell indicates that multinational companies competing in the global industry can allocate rewards based on the corporate and regional performance rather than on subsidiary performance, as favored by MNCs competing in multi-domestic industry. So, for example, service sectors and high technology multinational companies have been more likely than manufacturers to incorporate employee stock option plans in their international compensation strategies. So these are the various benefits which are being included based on the industry type. Okay. Then you have the competitor strategy. Okay, that is one the last factor which influences the compensation policy. So competitor strategy in business or human resource management as well as in a compensation package influence the compensation package of foreign companies. So multinational companies who design the business strategy of market leadership also prefer to be a leader in payment of compensation package because they want to attract the competent people across the globe. So companies which prefer to be the followers of the market leader formulate the compensation package based on that of the market leader. So in general, MNCs, that is multinational companies, follow the compensation package of comparable multinational companies. They compare the compensation package of various multinational companies in terms of industry, region, closeness in competition, and size. And based on that, they fix the compensation. So these are the various factors which influence the compensation policies. Okay. Then moving on to key components of international compensation. First key component of international compensation is base salary. Okay, so this term has been significantly different meaning in international context than in the domestic one. So in the latter, it denotes the amount of cash compensation that serves as a benchmark for other compensation elements like bonus, social benefits, and all those things. So here base salary based on the basic salary only, PF, ESI, bonus, and all those things are calculated. That is for domestic. For the expatriates, okay, it denotes main component of package of allowances directly related to the base salary and the basis for in service benefits and pension contribution. So base salary actually forms the foundation block of the international compensation. Okay, so base salary obviously it forms the foundation stone for the international compensation. Okay, because all the allowances as well as the service benefits or pension contribution entirely is depending on the base salary. Okay, so that is the compensation component for the international compensation. Second, you have the foreign service inducement premium. So this is the component of total compensation package given to employees to encourage them to take up foreign assignments. So they give additional premium which is being given to the employees, that is called as foreign service inducement premium. Okay, so other part of the components of international compensation we'll be looking into the next class, my dear students. Till here, is it being understood? Kedar, is it understood? Okay, how many classes of I think yeah, okay, done. Nice, Kedar. Okay, just a minute, students, I just want to speak to you all.